It's time to talk sports, it's time for the show. When you hear this song on the radio, it's time to tune in, better act fast. Let me get that Podagraph. Podagraph, Sports Talk Radio. Starting now.
Let's go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 173 of Let Me Get That Podagraph. It is our 2022 award special, kicking off 2023, looking back at a wonderful year in the hobby. My name, of course, is the DH, and joining me, my awesome co-host, Mr. Scott Rappaport.
What's going on, Drew?
Not much, man. Just finally getting back into the swing of things.
I know it's taken a couple of weeks to start the year off to get back to normal, and we're back to normal.
Well, almost, but close.
Yeah, pretty close. I mean, look, let's be honest. Are either of us really going to be normal?
No.
Yeah.
No. So But yes, guys, it is our look back at 2022 today. Next week, we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming. But today, we are going to hand out some Let Me Get That Podagraph awards. This is our first annual award show. We've actually never done one. I've never done one alone or anything before. So I'm really looking forward to this, man. I've never done one.
I'm digging the concept.
Yeah.
And it is awards season. The People's Choice Awards is coming up, pretty soon, which leads into the Golden Globes and the Emmys and all that fun stuff. So
we'll start it.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and kick it off with the Let Me Get That Podagraph Sports Card Awards.
There you go.
And we do have categories coming up that are not strictly about the cards themselves.
Yes.
So
we're going to take a look back at the hobby, events that happened in the hobby, lots of different stuff throughout the show. It's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So you want to go ahead and let's just dive right into it. And what do we got for the first category, Drew?
Yeah, no better way. All right. We're going to start off with some products, and we're going to go with best product of the year low end. We're going to split this category up into low, medium, and high end. So for low-end products.
All right. The nominees for low-end products this year or for 2022. Topps Update Baseball. We have Bowman University Football. And Panini Donruss Soccer Road to the World Cup.
Very nice. 3 really good products. I will say that.
3 solid products. 3 products, and I might add 3 products that did not get screwed up.
Yeah.
And, that's the reason that we left out certain products is, from nomination is because, look, there were some screw ups this year and and there were some big ones. And because of that, it's, not doing it. Like I will preface before we announce the winner in this one. I would have loved to have seen Topps Chrome get nominated.
Well, yeah.
I love the design. I loved everything except for the veteran autographs that they threw in there. That was a bunch of crap. But I wanted to nominate it, but you know what? They left out the short prints. And because of that, it's like, all right, we can't nominate that for any of the best product categories. So, Drew, you want to go ahead and give the winner of the best product of the year for the low end?
Absolutely. Drum roll. It is Bowman University Football. A shocker to some, I know, but
I like this product.
Yes.
I think it was a solid choice for the low end. It is extraordinarily underrated.
Yep.
It does share a design with 2022 Bowman.
Yes, it does.
Which I think is great. I love that design. But there's some guys in this product that are going to be hot commodities come draft time.
Yeah.
And
even the next couple years, not only this year, but some of them are 2 years away.
Exactly. Like we were looking, Brock Bowers is on there. And I was looking up after the national championship game last night. And even his paper base cards are selling for like $2 a piece.
Yeah, and I mean, you also have the current stars. You got Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis. You've got a lot of this year's draft in there as well.
All right, Kenny Pickett, yeah, but let's be honest, man. Is Malik Willis really a star?
I mean, I didn't say he's a star, but he's someone that has potential. I mean, I'm not going to judge. You know me, I'm not judging anyone off of 1 year. So especially in his situation. So, I mean, I was just pointing out they've got current players in the draft now. They've got guys that are coming into the upcoming draft. Corum from Michigan in there, just a wonderful checklist. Yeah. But the reason I voted for this as the best low-end product is because this is year one of what I think is going to be something that's going to become a mainstay when Fanatics takes over all the licensing. Bowman is going to get into all sports again, and Bowman is going to become something. Now, right now, these are on the clearance shelf, literally at Walmart. The blasters are on the clearance shelf. You can get them for under $20,
and they're loaded. Even the blasters are
loaded. Yes.
What I'm looking at with this product is, if you go back to like 2012.
Yeah,
you had Prism that came out. You had football, you had basketball, you had hockey. And let's put hockey aside for a minute here. But Prism basketball, Prism football was it was just a so-so product.
Yeah.
But when you fast forward, 5 years,
exactly.
all of a sudden the boom happens, and everybody is chasing the older stuff, the 2012, the 2013,
exactly,
stuff like that. So I think that may happen with Bowman University football.
There's a reason I completed the set, the refractor set, the pink set. I'm holding a lot of this because I actually have faith in this product, just like you said. Prism is a fine example. Look at what first year Prism stuff goes for. Now, am I saying this is going to be the new Prism? No. But it's got potential with the new NIL licensing and all that stuff. The focus on college athletics and the focus on players' cards before they enter the pros is never going to be bigger than it is in the upcoming years. I mean,
no, that's true.
Seen it.
And we all know the hype within baseball behind the Bowman First and the Bowman First Auto.
Exactly.
And that may happen with Bowman University football.
Mm-hmm. Especially these are hard signed. I mean, the stuff is nice.
No, they're sticker.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they're sticker on them.
Okay. So, well, things happen.
No, exactly.
Can't win them.
No, you can't win them all. But I think they did a good job with the design. I think they could, the only thing they could have done better was maybe some promotion behind it. But
yes.
As far as the product itself goes, I was really excited with that one. And even the lower end, the blasters versus the hobby boxes and things like that, you can hit some really good stuff in retail.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to like other products where all the good stuff's in hobby and it's just the kind of stuff you can get in the retail side. But with this, now they put some of the superfractors came out of retail. Some of the good superfractors.
Yeah.
I think the Bryce Young superfractor auto came out of a blaster box.
It sure did,
which is like unheard of.
I know.
In the hobby. So that's kind of it. So
it might be becoming a little more common. I mean, I did just see the Julio 1/1 being pulled from a blaster box.
That's true. And actually the in Topps baseball, I believe one Topps baseball, the Wander Franco 1/1 Platinum came out of a Walgreens hanger.
Yeah.
And the Bowman paper 1/1 came out of a blaster box.
Yep. Yeah, so maybe we're starting to see that. But yeah, Bowman U for me definitely takes the cake. And I think, like I said, basketball and football. Football definitely a little more than basketball for me this year, just because of who it has and just where I see things going. But I think Bowman U coming out in both sports is very big for the hobby. And that's one of the reasons I chose it. Plus, it's just a really fun rip for that great low-end price.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, so let's move on to the next category. What do we got?
All right, so for the next category, we're going back with best product of the year, mid-end products.
All right, so the nominees for this one, we have Bowman Chrome Baseball. We have Topps Chrome Merlin Soccer. And we have Leaf Decadence Multisport, which I have seen some absolutely amazing stuff coming out of that, including, I believe, there's some Pele autos in there too.
There are some Pele autos
which
in there.
Is
Leaf
like,
Decadence is amazing.
Yeah, which is crazy. That I mean, granted, Pele signed a crap load of stickers and things like that before he died, but that was it's always nice to see Pele in a product.
Yep, and Merlin was a solid release as well. It continues to get stronger and stronger and stronger. I'm going to be interested to see if they move it into any other brands or any other sports.
I think it's kind of cool, but the reason it's a soccer product is because Merlin as a product, and this goes back years, was a soccer card product. Topps acquired licensing for it and was able to to repurpose it for Chrome, and I think they've done a great job. And then we get to Bowman Chrome Baseball, and I'm going to tell you that product is absolutely loaded.
Yep.
Usually, when we see a Bowman product, what we see is a ton of pitchers, 2 or 3 hitters, and everybody's chasing the hitters, but you wind up ripping a box, and it's like, all right, well, here I get two pitcher autos,
right?
And that is the reason that our winner this year, is Bowman Chrome Baseball. I ripped a couple of hobby boxes, and I went through all of the Bowman firsts that I got out of those boxes. Not a single pitcher.
Wow.
I know. It was crazy. So all the firsts, the base firsts that I pulled, so I set those aside. I mean, a couple will get graded, a lot of them will just sit in boxes until guys, get called up or do something. And not a single pitcher.
That's amazing.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
But honestly, that is the reason why it is our best product of the year for the mid-range.
Yeah, I mean, solid design. I love the design. I think it's great, very similar to Bowman U football, but has that Bowman feel. They didn't depart from much. Like you said, wonderful checklist compared to previous years. No screw-ups.
No.
Good job, guys. You put a product out. Everything was in it. They actually got their money's worth for the most part, and a lot of stuff to chase. So mid-end product for me, despite having some very, very good competition. I agree. Bowman Chrome Baseball.
All right. What do we got up next?
All right. So we're going to finish up products of the year, but we're going to go with high end. Who are our nominees for product of the year? High end edition.
All right. So product of the year. So we got Panini Flawless NBA basketball.
All right.
And who can forget the chase for the triple logo man, LeBron. We have Topps Diamond Icons baseball, which is always just an amazing design. Great product overall, great checklist, a lot of amazing autos pop out of that. And then we have a new product this year, Panini Eminence World Cup Soccer. And I'm going to tell you, man, that was our winner.
Yes, our winner is Eminence World Cup Soccer.
Everything from the design, the checklist, just the heat that guys are pulling, just absolute fire coming out of those boxes. Now, it's going to cost you like 25, 26 grand to get one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the possibility for return on investment on that is absolutely insane.
No, it's incredible. And look, the Flawless and Diamond Icons were both great this year. Flawless, I will say, the reason it didn't win for me is because you need to change the design a little bit each year on these. They don't do enough for me. They all blend. Every year blends together for me.
No, but the thing is, this is what I wish they might, they could have done with Flawless, because there are subtle design tweaks from year to year. But if they had started Flawless from the beginning as kind of a continuity set,
right? Yeah,
that would have been something that would have been really cool. Or at least with the RPAs,
right?
Do the RPAs as a continuity set.
Right.
And then the rest of the autos and inserts and all that kind of stuff can tweak, slightly from year to year. That would have been a cool thing to do. But
I completely agree. I mean, Eminence World Cup. Now, look, I do not think the following years from now on going forward, I don't know if Eminence would win going forward.
No.
But being the debut release, having the World Cup hype around it and the focus that they had with this set. So many times these companies lose focus when they're making these high-end sets. This set from top to bottom, from the regular checklist all the way down to the biggest hits, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is legendary. And so for that reason, just like when Eminence started the first year, I mean, it's gone downhill since then, but that first year in
It's
basketball,
still amazing.
Incredible. And so what they did with soccer, I thought was amazing. Having the World Cup hype obviously helped a lot. But even without that, you put this product out with that checklist any year, and I'm sorry, you can't compete.
Well, you also had a weird situation with the World Cup this year because you have, and this specifically relates to the hobby, because you had, some absolutely amazing veteran superstars that participated this year with their countries, but you also had some just absolutely amazing rookies and, second or third year guys that,
well, we got to witness the changing of the guard for the final. I mean,
yes.
How more poetic and beautiful can it get,
And that's and again, and that was one of the greatest games that I have ever seen. And it really was a changing of the guard. Now the question is, will the new guard be Mbappe, or will the new guard be Erling Haaland, who came back from break and has just been absolutely tearing it up the Premier League again?
Like if you listen to a couple episodes back, we said exactly what happened.
Yes, exactly. So we knew, look, the guy's rested. He's coming in, and there's a lot of games going on. Man City, I think, is playing today too. So I kind of want to watch that game. But but we really did see a changing of the guard, and I think the product really showcases that too, because you've got Messi in there. And I would say I would argue that Messi is actually a better player than Ronaldo.
Oh, I would too.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that, but the move from him to Mbappe and that next generation, really, let's just say the changing the guard from a generational standpoint.
Yeah.
Because Neymar may not be back, and granted, he's not that old. The guy's only 30. In baseball, he'd just be coming into his prime,
right?
You've got Messi, who's probably played his last World Cup. You've got Neymar, who has said he's probably played his last. You've got Ronaldo, who is the oldest of all three of them, who will not be playing another World Cup. You've got Pepe, who at 39, I think was the oldest player in the tournament. He's not coming back,
right?
After this, he doesn't get a lot of hobby love too, which is a little sad because I love Pepe.
I know.
And then you've got Neymar, or not Neymar. You've got Mbappe. You've got the emergence of Cody Gakpo, who just moved over to Man United, and it's like everything. His stuff is going to go absolutely insane. That's part of the reason that we went with that product as the high end.
Yeah, it's like I said, top to bottom. I mean, the checklist is almost. I mean, I really, it's very hard for me to point out a mistake, and so for that reason, for me, it's got to be number one without a doubt.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we do have one more product. Actually, we have two more. Let me phrase it. We have two more product categories, and we're going to make them quickies because we've got them up. So what do we got for our final two product categories?
All right, so now we're going to round up to non-sport products. What are our nominees for non-sport product of the year?
All right, so we have Pokemon Go.
All right.
Yeah, we threw that in there. We have 2022 Topps Star Wars Chrome Galaxy.
There you go. And
we have what I thought was just like an absolutely really solid product was Marvel Spider-Man Metal Universe.
Oh, yeah.
From Upper Deck.
Drum roll. Star Wars Chrome Galaxy is the winner.
All right. This was a close one.
Yes.
This was and don't get me wrong. Look, I love Pokemon. I'm a Pokemon guy, but Pokemon Go was the third place one in this one for me.
Yep.
And I kind of wanted to, Star Wars Chrome Galaxy was the winner. Marvel Spider-Man Metal Universe, though, was kind of like a 1B, in this category. I love the Metal Universe stuff. And I think they did an amazing job with that product, with the images and the artwork and kind of everything that went into it. But I can't believe it, like Star Wars Chrome Galaxy when 2021 came out, it was an absolutely amazing product. And again, it's an artwork based product. I wasn't sure that they were going to be able to improve on that, with the design and the different art, the chase cards and things like that are in there. And they managed to do that with 2022. And I think that's what kind of put it over the edge with Spider-Man Metal Universe, because it was like, all right, they took an awesome product and they actually made it better instead of screwing it up.
Yes, exactly.
And that was my reason after watching Anthony Dovine, rip like 15 cases of this stuff. The parallels look amazing. Even the base cards look great with the black border that they put on them as opposed to the borderless cards that they did last year.
Yep.
I love, I love everything about it so far.
No, Star Wars Chrome Galaxy, phenomenal. It's had a huge secondary market. It's a beautiful design. It's a beautiful look. And like I said, it was close. I love metal. I'm a metalhead completely when it comes to cards. And so it was a very close one for me, as Marvel Metal was absolutely incredible. But it's got to be Star Wars Chrome Galaxy. Just an all-around great product.
Okay. And what is our last category for the products?
Last product is value product. Best value for your money this year.
All right. And I'm just going to read the winner on this one.
Sure.
Topps Chrome Bundesliga Soccer.
Yes.
Now, that product gets a lot of crap. However, you can get hobby boxes down like under $50. And you have the potential, because it is the 21-22 season, you still have the potential for Erling Haaland autos, Bellingham, Yusufa Moukoko, Kimmich is in there, Timo Werner. You think all the stars of the Bundesliga have autos in there, and you got a shot at pulling one for less than $50.
Yeah.
The boxes are loaded with color. The product design is solid. Whether you like soccer or not, it's a fun rip, and that is why it is our best value product.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up right there. I mean, I love the Bundesliga to begin with, but all of that put together, plus, like you said, such a low entry point for incredible guys that are starring in the Bundesliga, guys that start in the cup, just a great checklist. So,
and actually, and you've got some solid rookies in there too. Lucas Sukic is in there. Who is it? Sidney Raybiger has a rookie card in there, and then who knows? The next, there's a ton of other rookies in there. The next Bellingham, the next Haaland, the next Mbappe may come out of that product. And it's a lot of these guys are guys that you don't find in the Chrome Champions League products because they're not one of the top 3 Bundesliga teams.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a good future-proof product.
Yes, I completely agree.
All right. So now we're going to move on to what I refer to as the fun categories.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So going down the list here, what do we have next?
All right. We're going with pull of the year. What was the biggest pull in the hobby of 2022? And there's really only one choice.
There was only one choice with this one. It's obvious.
The LeBron triple logo man from Flawless.
Yes, that card was the biggest chase card of the year.
Yeah.
That card and the potential to pull that card was the reason why Leighton and Blez teamed up at the Mint Collective to do a 40 case break.
Yep.
Of that product. That is the reason that Drake, the rapper, he had to have spent $2 million chasing that card.
I was about to say, this brought in so many people from the outside. TMZ covering this story. I mean, like, this brought a lot of mainstream attention and a lot of people from even the outside coming in. Like you said, Drake, other people. This really was I mean, even for people that couldn't afford to get into a break like myself that just liked watching it, this was
but then also look at the bounties that were put on this card too.
Yes.
So you had, Ken Golden put out a $5 million bounty on it.
Yep.
Now, granted, we all know that it sold for a lot less than that. And,
yeah.
But anyway, but that was there. Then you had Whatnot putting out the Lambert. If one of the Whatnot breakers pulled it on Whatnot, they got a Lamborghini.
I know.
I mean, it's like, seriously, where are we? I want to know why. Like, how much money is Whatnot taking in that they're willing to buy a Lamborghini for a guy that, pulls a card like this?
Well, I'll put it this way. Whatnot, a lot of those shows where you see people giving away like 50 cases and stuff like that, Whatnot's buying those and giving it to them. So they're spending a ton of money to do good giveaways with their big breakers. They're reinvesting quite a bit of money, but I don't know, Lambo really isn't reinvest. I would just laugh if some kid spent like his entire fortune to get it and then pulled it and then got the Lambo and realized he had to pay taxes.
But you also got to keep in mind that the card had to have been pulled on Whatnot. It wasn't just a random, like if you pulled it somewhere else. And I think Whatnot was honestly hoping that it would get pulled somewhere else.
Oh, of course they were.
That way they didn't have to give away the Lambo.
Attention.
As far as the taxes go too, you could always sell the Lamborghini in order to pay the taxes. Which, I mean, if some 13-year-old kid or whatever wound up with it, then I mean, I would do that. But you've got it was just a crazy pull.
And it took the hobby where, I mean, it was literally a couple months of people just going crazy. Every box that was opened, it really was must-watch TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no other product had that at all. So that's why for me and for you, pull of the year, there really is nothing else that you can go after there.
No, absolutely. All right, so next category. What do we got, Drew?
All right, from pull of the year to sale of the year. What was the sale of the year that we know of in the hobby?
And that's the thing. So I don't think even on the private market that, word didn't even get out that there was a sale that was going to top this.
No.
And this sale set the all-time record for highest dollar amount spent on a single sports card. And that was the 1952 Mickey Mantle SGC 95 Rosen Find, the finest known example, which you and I both got a chance to see in person. At the National this year because Heritage had it on, had it on display. I have seen a couple of the PSA 10s that are out there, and in person, and I honestly think that, and granted, all three of the PSA 10s were graded. They were graded a long time ago. Grading standards have kind of changed a little bit. Frankly, I don't think if any of those three were graded today that they would have gotten a 10.
No,
I think this card looked better, in person than all three of those cards, and it wound up selling for over $12 million.
Yeah, I completely agree. It absolutely is the finest example of this card. And for those of you that don't know about Rosen and the Rosen Find, I highly recommend reading up on it. It's pretty amazing what this guy had and everything that went through this card and everything else. It's a pretty amazing story. But this is going to be a known. I mean, this is another one that transcended just the hobby. Everybody covered this. Everyone wanted to see this card. And at the National, it was must see. I mean,
but you had this not only being covered by the hobby journalists. You had this being covered by like Financial Times and like I want to say Business Insider, but Business Insider dives into the hobby on a fairly regular basis.
That's why I was going to say Forbes too, but they do as well. So,
Yeah. And I mean, you had there were MSNBC and CNBC and the financial, networks and stuff like that were all covering this kind of stuff. And honestly, I think this brought some people into the hobby as well. But and honestly, it was the only nominee that we had because, frankly, there was just the dollar amount that it sold for, automatically made it the winner of the sale of the year.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There really was nothing else that you can really go after outside of that. So
no, don't get me wrong. There were multiple sales in the 7-figure range, but I don't think any of them topped 5 million.
No.
And I definitely, this is the only one that's ever been in the 8-figure range.
Yep.
So that's where it is.
There you go. So now we're going to move on now to some other stuff, some general stuff throughout the hobby, you guys. And we're going to go with best interview of the year. And Scott, this is obviously from our show, from all the interviews that we had on Let Me Get That Podagraph last year. And there's really only one answer here.
Yep. That answer is the Let Me Get That Podagraph interview of Kunal Chopra from Beckett in his first ever hobby interview.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I think that if other shows were to go through, and I went through a whole bunch of other, shows and listened to different interviews and things like that. And this was the one that I think was the most well received.
Yes.
Throughout the interview. Because not only was it, Beckett breaking their silence after, a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think the biggest surprise was that we had a guy who doesn't come from the industry being, having all these ideas that he was throwing out there when we were having this, and like all of them made sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy crap, like this is not how I thought this was going to go.
No.
And I think it shined a really good light on what's going on within Beckett, what their future plans are. And it really kind of comforted me a little bit that the company is actually in good hands.
No,
that's like, okay, well, we didn't, they didn't bring in just some clown to run the company.
Right. No, you really did nail it when you said it was the most well received. And I also think it was the most comprehensive that he has done. I mean, this was and the reason it's my favorite interview is because I've interviewed probably outside of just this show and everything else from my entire career, probably over a couple thousand people. This was one of maybe 2 or possibly 3 interviews in my life where it went completely how I did not expect it to go.
Doing an interview is a lot like lawyers in court when they're questioning a witness. You never want to ask questions that you don't know the answers to.
Yeah.
And
we're talking to a company that hadn't spoken in over a year.
Yeah. And this was one of those where it's like, all right, I know what the answer is going to be. And then boom, it's something completely different. And it's like, where the hell did that come from?
Exactly.
Like,
it was.
This is genius.
Yes. If you are a new listener or you just happen to miss that episode, I highly recommend you run back to it and take a listen to it because it's a long one. It's a good one. And in my opinion, it, like you said, it shined a very good light on Beckett. Now, in terms of their future and grading and everything, it left me with a lot of questions that we're seeing kind of play out now. But in terms of the future of the company, it definitely made me look at it in a completely different light. And like I said, I was thoroughly surprised by this interview, and any interview that leaves me on my toes and gives me so much new information that I didn't have, I love.
Yeah. And that was our most listened to show of the year last year as well. So
yes, absolutely. So thank you guys for that.
Yes, exactly. All right. So moving on, what do we got for our next category?
We've got show of the year.
All right. So show of the year. We got 3 nominees for that.
Yes.
We have the obvious nominee, the 2022 National Sports Collectors Convention. We have the Dallas Card Show.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the Mint Collective.
And the winner is, shocker to some, I'm sure, but the Mint Collective is our winner.
The National was big.
Yeah.
but obviously there were some issues and things like that, and not a lot of it had to do with the people that ran the show or anything like that. Dallas Card Show has been a mainstay in the hobby for a long time and has continued to grow, and that's why they made the nominees or the nominee list for that. But the Mint Collective showed us that you can start a major show in this environment where there are already a ton of major shows and not only be different, but be successful.
Yeah, and not only that, but also be fun, informative. Like I was there. It was absolutely the show of the year. The National, I'm sorry, Atlantic City killed it. Everything from venue to travel to everything just around it. It really, really sunk I would have probably put the National had it not been for that. And just the annoyance and the takeovers and the throwing of boxes and all this junk that went on that just kind of drove me crazy. The Mint was phenomenal. And not only that, being out in Vegas, I know a lot of people were like, what, it's going to be all these parties, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there was a lot of fun and a lot of cool stuff like that, but you didn't have to pay another $3,000 to do it. They did a good job of providing value for what you paid for. If you went there, you were able to do everything. You didn't have to spend $5,000 to go to this conference and then $2,000 to go to this party. It was all inclusive. It was done together, and it showed that the hobby was ready for a different kind of show, because this is not your $1 or $1 bin mom and pop show. The complete opposite, more of a trade show than anything. But the networking, the cards you could buy, I bought a ton there. That's actually the show I bought the most at this year. It was phenomenal. And so for that reason, starting out of nowhere, starting with not a lot of time. They announced this show and then it was pretty much happening. They had to postpone it for a little while, obviously, because of pandemic reasons and things like that. But once they finally were able to have it, it was incredible from start to finish. And so for that reason, the Mint Collective wins Show of the Year.
And, kind of branching off that, the next iteration of show concept. You've heard of the Rock Boat, right?
Yeah.
Where it's a cruise where they get, they get a crap load of bands out there. You go cruise for 5 days. The bands play, 2 or 3 shows, and there's stuff like that. I want to do the card boat.
Let's do it.
And where you go out for 5 days, you've got the show floor that's open and things like that. And then obviously you've got built-in trade nights because everybody's on the boat.
Stuck on a boat. Yeah.
You've got the bars that are open, the clubs, all that kind of stuff. So do like a cruise card show for 3 or 4 days. That would be awesome.
Hey, if anybody from Royal Caribbean or Carnival or Disney's listening, hit us up. Let me get that Podagraph card cruise. Let's do it.
Well, I know the guys that run the Rock Boat. And as my buddies played there. There was probably 5 years in a row that they played that Rock Boat, and so I know those guys. Maybe we'll see if we can put something together or do the card. Do the card boat.
Now that's a good idea. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, what do we got for the next category?
We've got, this will probably be a controversial one with people, but Grading Company of the Year.
All right, we got 4 nominees, and they are the exact 4 nominees that you thought they were going to be. We have PSA, we've got SGC, we've got BGS, and we've got CSG.
And the winner is
SGC.
SGC.
Now, this was a close one.
Very.
PSA was close. They did a phenomenal job clearing the backlog. They've improved their turn times.
Everything they've done since Nat Turner got there has been phenomenal. I will say that right now. Nat turned that company around. But
there's one thing that they haven't done, and that's be innovative.
Yes.
They haven't done, it's the same thing that we've seen from PSA year after year after year. And its consistency is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. but at the same time, we're also still seeing, mistakes.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, every grading company is going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
There's no question, but there's some big ones that we're seeing, come out of PSA. SGC did a phenomenal job, keeping up with the low turn times.
Yes.
They've lowered their lowered the pricing. Their customer service is excellent. You're actually, you want to reach out to them, you actually get a chance to talk to somebody.
You can speak to someone that matters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Peter has done an amazing job growing that company over the last couple of years.
Oh, amazing.
They hit a couple of bumps in the road, but they've corrected them and they've made those changes. And 2022 was an absolutely phenomenal year for them. And their resale value, as far as their slabs go, is catching up. It's closing that gap, every single year.
Well, that was my biggest reason for choosing them was how Peter had scaled this company is just amazing. Every time I go down to South Florida to work and do PSA work, I actually am right near SGC's offices. So I've kind of seen it grow and seen everything happen. And it's been phenomenal to see what he has done. But the innovation that they've done, whether it be partnerships, everything else, I mean, at just top to bottom, I think SGC from an advertising, from a marketing standpoint, did the best this year. From just everything, I really think that SGC did a wonderful job. And like you said, the overall thing, the values of the slabs are starting to go up tremendously, and how they're looked at in the hobby is changing. It's no longer that black colored slab. That's not what it's thought of as anymore. Those are thought of.
And honestly, there are certain cards, especially refractors and prism, especially within certain colors, that really just pop in that slab. And it highlights, especially like the golds and the oranges, and like the black border just makes it look nice.
Yeah.
But you're also seeing PSA start to do things now that SGC has been doing for a couple of years. PSA just announced last week that they're going to be providing scans of all of their cards.
Yeah.
They started doing the really high end ones last year, but they're going to start doing it for all of them now. And that says something right there, because SGC's been doing that for years.
Yes.
And that was something that, the Peter started, over there, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And it's like, all right, yeah, they're okay. We like that. Let's copy that and let's do that.
I mean, it makes sense. I'd copy it too.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant idea.
Absolutely. It makes a ton of sense. So
SGC Grading Company of the Year. So Scott, we're gonna move on to now to one of our funny categories of the show, Clown of the Year. Who's the biggest clowns in the hobby this year?
All right, so we had 2 nominees in this category.
Yeah.
First nominee is Backyard Breaks, and that is just for the most obvious reasons.
Just turn it on any time ever.
Exactly. The second nominee is actually the Blez Brothers. Yeah. And the reason we threw them in there was going back to that 40 case flawless break that they did
at the Mint.
During the Mint. Their need to bring in the showgirls, and were there strippers in there too? So they're getting a nominee for Clown of the Year, specifically.
Well, that was a clown show.
Yeah, that was a clown show. Leighton, their half of it, did an absolutely amazing job.
Yes.
I love the guys at Leighton. They're classy. They keep it to the hobby. They get excited when they hit some major pulls, and rightfully so.
As they should. Yeah.
But they're not doing it in a clownish way. No. The winner obviously is
Backyard Breaks.
Yes. And that is one of those things where it's like, we don't even need to elaborate it. They're clowns.
Yeah.
The
tipping point for me was the National, man. I'm sitting there trying to run a booth, and I'm getting packs of Chronicles blaster packs and stuff and blaster boxes thrown at me, and I'm getting hit, and people are jumping over my table, diving, trampling over kids to grab a Chronicles value pack. I mean, it was they when I mentioned the disruption at the National, they disrupted an entire day at the National, and they turned it into they made it a joke. I mean, they were literally opening up 86 Fleer, one of the biggest sets ever, where people are one of the biggest set chasing products ever. They're opening that and throwing stuff into the crowd. Like it was, they just were making a mockery of everything. And I get, sure, yeah, it's great to hype people up, but throw a shirt, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like throw something else. It's so it turned into just like, I mean, it honestly felt like I was back in college and I stumbled into a frat on accident. And I was stuck there for a couple hours. Like that's what it felt like at the National for a couple hours. And I'm sorry, not my style, never has been. So yeah, Clowns of the Year. Does there really need to be any more said?
No, exactly. All right, so next category is actually it's a fun category, but it's a meaningful category.
Yes, complete opposite of Clown of the Year, the Hobby Hero of the Year.
All right, so this one, we didn't even really come up with a list of nominees for this one. It was more like who do we want to give it to?
Yeah,
and this was a tough one because look, there's a lot of people who are doing some really good things within the hobby, but we're giving it this year to Signatures for Soldiers.
Yes.
We had them on before the National. They were the charity sponsor of the National.
Yeah.
They put their money to good work. All of it.
Yes.
And they had a phenomenal year with the auctions that they put up and the money that they raise, and it is all going for an absolutely amazing cause. So Signatures for Soldiers is our hobby hero of the year.
Yes, absolutely. I actually my very first National was Tim's first National. It was right when he started Signatures for Soldiers in Cleveland. And I have and I met Tim. We had him on this show back when Stu was still hosting with me. He's one of the very first people we ever had on this show as an interview, right when the company had started, to watch where they've grown from a booth that literally it's like they added it in the last second and tucked him in a corner you couldn't find, to being the charity sponsor of the National and doing the amazing things that he does. Tim does such a good job of not only with his help with when it was with Wounded Warrior and now just doing Signature for Soldiers and things like that. There's been so much good that he's done for people outside of the hobby as well as people inside of the hobby. And one beautiful thing is I was actually set up right next to him at the National, and to see the amount of people that came by, saw what he was doing, and just decided to donate something worth hundreds of dollars just because was amazing. It was a beautiful thing to see. And so everything that Tim and Signatures for Soldiers does, 100% Hobby Heroes of the Year.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So now we are going to move on to the Card Company of the Year. And of course, we've got Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf.
And we have no winner.
Yep.
It's one of those things that we wanted to give a winner to somebody, but each of the companies had something going on throughout the year that really just said, look, we can't give it to them. And it's everything from Topps messing up products, not in, and all that kind of stuff. We had, Leaf with, acquiring Pro Set, which was awesome. And they could have done some amazing things with it, but they didn't.
But nothing.
And, kind of our top choice, was Upper Deck. But, and Drew, you had mentioned when we were talking prior to the show that, like, you loved them bringing back Metal Universe with Multisport, with Marvel, and, because we both love that product, but at the same time, they're still catching up on hockey product from 2 seasons ago.
I know.
And it's like, I don't feel, and obviously Panini's Panini. I don't necessarily.
Well, I mean, what
feel good giving
company?
it to
What
someone.
company? The reason it went undecided really is what company really did something to push them ahead of everyone else, and the answer was nobody. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like they all had their stumbling blocks. They all had their issues. They all did some great things, but nobody really separated themselves from the pack, so to speak.
Right.
It all ended up in the end feeling like a stagnant year, kind of a standstill year, lack of innovation from a lot of companies, which was surprising. There really was, when we sat down to discuss it, no one we could give this award to.
Yeah. And that's that was kind of the way it went. So, all right, what do we got? What do we got next?
All right, we got a couple more here. Next up is our mover and shaker of the year. Would you like to announce that?
And I thought about throwing a bunch of athletes on here that we've used in movers and shakers and things like that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't kind of want to do that. Let's just roll with, some people that moved and shaked their way through the hobby this year. And we came out with one, and this was one of those where, we're not going to give you a list of nominees or anything like that. We just decided to award it to one single person for a multitude of reasons, and that person is Tim from Slab Strong.
Yes.
We love Tim. He's a frequent guest on the show, but
sponsor of the show. Of
the show, but let's put all that aside.
Sure.
And not only has he, his product has caught fire, within the product this year, he's innovating with that product, but most importantly, he was the real innovator of the big hat trend.
Yep.
And you're starting to see there was I think it was an NFL player a couple weeks ago doing his media interview after the game wearing a big hat.
Wearing a big hat, yeah.
And it, it's like, all right, the stuff that Tim is doing started, it's starting to catch on, and maybe I'll go get myself a big hat.
Nah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tim's big hat's grown a baby now. It's growing another hat off of it. It's getting so big. So I love it. But no, Tim definitely, mover and shaker. If you're looking at any company that did a ton this year, Slab Strong's it. Tim is one of those guys that not only is his product amazing, not only is the big hat awesome and all of that, but he is on the grind. That dude goes, he works, he hustles, he goes to the shows, he's on the ground, he's at trade nights, he travels the country to do this stuff. He's not just making something and sitting back and hiding at home. Yeah. And he's really putting himself out there. I'm a very, very good friend of Tim, and to watch him network and to watch him work at a show is amazing. And what he's been able to do with his company in such a short amount of time is absolutely phenomenal. I know some of the deals he's made. He's told me about some of them, some that happened at the Mint, actually, that are just amazing. And so I completely agree. A lot of athletes we talked about this year, but Tim absolutely was in the spotlight. And whether you love or hate the slab chain, you're going to see it a lot from now on. I think it's a mainstay in the hobby. I think that big hat's going to be copied quite a bit as well. But I mean, you're seeing that chain move out into coins now. You're seeing that the Slab Strong and the protection, he's putting out just some amazing stuff. So mover and shake of the year, definitely going to our boy Tim. Congratulations, Tim.
Yeah, I really wanted to give it to Michael Porter Jr. this year, but decided not to do athletes. We, Tim, congratulations, man.
Yeah, I know. Everyone could use more of me hating on Michael Porter Jr. No,
I know. All right, so we got 2 categories left.
Yes.
Before we wrap it up for the day, and what do we got for our second to last category?
All right, so this is going to be promotion of the year. What was the coolest promotion, ad campaign, whatever it was, of the year in the hobby?
All right, so we had 2 nominees for this one. First nominee was SGC's $9 grading for the Bowman Chrome baseball cards and what they did with that. Not only was it the price reduction and the partnership with Topps, but then they started throwing in packs of Bowman and random orders and things like that, and I didn't get one. It just that they did some really cool things with it, and it was a solid promotion overall. The other promotion of the year was the Topps Aaron Judge, Paul Goldschmidt buyback program, which was an awesome program. It had a lot of guys looking through their boxes, for the cards, and the fact that they were willing to, give a $200 credit at a participating shop for a green refractor of either of those guys, it maybe would have been like a $20 card. That was the other nominee. Now, the winner was the SGC $9 grading. So congratulations on that. The reason, though, there was a reason that we didn't roll with the Topps buyback program. And Drew, go ahead and elaborate.
A mistake. It was fixing a mistake. It was because they left stuff out of the product. So if you're gonna like this is probably the most innovative thing I've seen all year in terms of something different. I love the buyback program. It made base cards actually relevant for a little for something, and the value they were giving customers was amazing. But this wasn't something that they came out with just because in conjunction with the release of Topps Chrome. This is what they came out with after a bunch of screw ups and the boxes had been cut in half in price and people weren't wanting the product. And so that's
what I'd love to see Topps do now.
What's that?
Is go back 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, 17, and maybe back to like 2016.
Yeah.
And say, all right, we're gonna do the same thing.
Yes.
But with for the 2 MVP winners from those 2 years, now we're not going to give $20 for a base, but we'll give like a $10 credit, whatever it is, and then take all of those and do some sort of, have them signed and do some sort of like MVP product.
Yep.
And that would be a cool thing. And I think that would really be a cool thing because I am sitting on a shitload of base from Chrome, going back to like 2018.
Well, I would expect to see that type of program being utilized again. I do expect to see Topps do this in some way, shape, or form again, because obviously they've got a relationship with these hobby shops now. They've got this stuff ready. I don't know if you'll ever see it as big, but I could easily see something like this coming out in the future. But like I said, it was to correct a mistake. So when you're talking promotion of the year, you got to go with the SGC one because like we said earlier, Bowman Chrome being our mid-end product of the year, this is a massive release. And Topps also has one of the people that owns Fanatics that owns CSG.
Yep.
The fact that they were able to get that from Topps and not CSG, that in and of itself, to me, was a massive win for SGC. Something I didn't mention when we were talking about them for grading company of the year, but to be able to
we didn't mention it because we knew this other category was coming up, and we wanted to make sure we didn't give anything away when we that one
but I mean this was what SGC did with the Bowman stuff I thought was phenomenal. Topps and SGC, I thought that was a great game plan, and like you said, it wasn't fixing a mistake, and so that's why we're giving it to SGC and their $9 grading for Bowman Chrome.
Yep. All right. We got one more category left.
Yes. And we've alluded to it.
What do we got?
All right. So the last category of the first annual Let Me Get That Podagraph Sports Card Award Show is biggest mistake of the year.
All right. We got 3 nominees in this category. And we are going to start off with having the National in Atlantic City.
Yes.
That's nominee number 1.
Strong contender.
Sticking with a National-related mistake, we've got the dude that stole $80,000 worth of cards from one of the dealers at the National, and a warrant got put out for his arrest.
Yeah.
And then we have Topps leaving the short prints out of Chrome Baseball.
Yes, and as stupid as the first 2 were, and they were quite stupid, the winner has got to be Topps leaving the short prints out of Chrome Baseball.
And this was one that could have been avoided and led to a massive expenditure by Topps in order to correct it. First, they had to do the silver packs. Not only pack those out, but also ship them out and, things like that. And that led to the Judge and Goldschmidt buyback program because nobody was buying the product.
Exactly.
How they typically would buy Chrome, and especially with the rookie class like this. That's really what made it the biggest mistake of the year. The other two were were definitely winners.
Oh yeah.
But number one this year was Topps and leaving.
Yeah, like you said, any of those three could have easily been winners, but the top. I mean, when a company forgets to leave the 5 biggest chase cards that are non-autoed out of a product and then doesn't tell anybody for countless weeks. I mean, it took almost a month because I was there when I was at Collecticon when Topps Chrome came out. I saw the boxes started around $375. By the weekend, they were at about $275. And then by the time we had the next Collecticon, no one even had any Chrome anymore because they didn't care. And they weren't touching it because everyone had found out. But when it came out, people had no clue. So many people spent so much money getting into breaks, chasing this stuff. And then you had to rely on with the silver packs. Do you have a trustworthy breaker? Is he actually going to do something with, so many problems were caused by this, and so many people sunk money into stuff chasing something that wasn't there. Now, granted, your odds of pulling the stuff is astronomically high, but when you're opening so much, they're going to get pulled. Well, to not put something in a product is just ridiculous. Yeah. But when it's the biggest chase cards in the product that are non-autoed, I mean, it in a product like Topps Chrome. I
think the biggest mistake was, they put them on the checklist.
Exactly.
If they weren't on the checklist,
well then
it wouldn't have been a problem.
Nope.
Now they still might have some trouble selling the product.
Right.
But nobody's going to say, well, wow, what a screw up.
Right. Like if the Vlad no number was never there, big deal. It wasn't there because it wasn't on the checklist.
It was not it wasn't on the checklist.
But yeah, when you advertise a checklist and then you don't put something in there, yes, it's just. I mean,
those the short, the Acuna and Galabatoris short prints 2018 were not on the initial checklist.
Exactly.
They didn't get added until after the product had released and people started pulling them, and they're like, "What the hell?"
Yep.
Same thing with the Vlad in 2019.
Right.
And I don't think they've done one since.
No.
But these were part of the initial checklist release. And people were expecting them to be pulled, and they were the biggest chases that were out there. So it's they weren't autographs anyway. But it's, I mean, I don't think you can't overlook that.
No. This was by far the biggest mistake of the year. I mean, like you said, it led to the buyback program. Tons of people spent thousands and thousands and were screwed out of that money. A lot of people screwed out of silver packs. I mean, it caused a massive problem for Topps. It caused a massive problem for everybody. Topps, the people buying, people looking to get them on the resale market, collectors, whoever. I mean, it caused a massive problem for everybody.
Yeah. Breakers had a big problem with it. Hobby shops had a big problem with it.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And a lot of Chrome sitting on the shelf. There you go.
All right. So that is it for the 2022 Hobby Awards.
Yes.
And I do want to mention that all the votes were tabulated by our esteemed accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yes.
Sealed until we open them on the show today.
That is correct.
Sorry. Well, look, every other award show ends with something very similar in wording and things like that. And it's like, okay.
There you go.
I don't want to do the same thing. So let's roll. Let's just roll with it.
I like it. They were sealed. They were nice, signed, sealed, and delivered. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, that is going to do it for this episode and the first ever Let Me Get That Podagraph Sports Card Award Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Of course, I'd like to thank our awesome sponsors, Slab Strong, Show Your Slabs, Denver Card Shows, Card Ladder, and Vanity Slabs. Thank you guys so much. I have a new episode of Let Her Rip Out this week as well with Donruss Optic Baseball. And then we also, of course, remember Hobby Hotline every Tuesday night and Saturday mornings, early afternoon. You can catch us on Bench Clear Media, and then of course Tuesdays on the Hobby Hotline YouTube. Make sure to check out all the Let Me Get That Podagraph socials. We'll be doing some cool giveaways, things like that here in the near future, and always have a lot of awesome content up there as well. But good show, man. First ever award show in the books.
I know. Had a lot of fun doing it. Look forward to next year doing that again. And we'll maybe we'll do it on video next year. Get some good graphics and
Probably end up doing a live one next year, so I can get you to put on a tux and get the ice ball out. Any excuse for the ice ball and a tux.
Yeah.
Doing one's fun. So probably do it live next year. But thank you guys so much for listening, and we will be back next week with an all-new episode back to your regularly scheduled programming. But until then, you guys, you know the deal. Keep ripping those packs, pulling those hits, and we'll talk to you then. Peace.